on Thursday.
Including Gary Lightbody from Snow Patrol, who's with us now.
Morning.
Hello there.
Were you feeling at all envious of the hordes of fans who were waiting there?
Well, you're very familiar.
At some point over the past 20 years.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's anybody ever waited 3 nights in a sleeping bag for one of our shows or movies, for that matter.
If you have waited 3 nights, camped 3 nights to see Snow Patrol, do get in touch with us, because we're going to talk to Gary in more detail later.
And you just very quickly, you've been working with Harry Styles, actually, haven't you?
Myself and Jack Flea have been writing with him, and we'll see if any of the songs
He's
make
a
the
bona
record.
fide musical talent.
He really is, yeah.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So, as I say, talking to Gary Lightbody about Snow Patrol and also Tired Pony, which you called your bit on the side, in a few minutes. First, here's a last quick look at what's happening where you are. Stay with us.
As a band, Snow Patrol, just checking our numbers, have sold more than 14 million albums worldwide, but their lead singer and guitarist, Gary Lightbody, has many more strings to his bow, more than 14 million. He writes for other artists, he started another group, he's been in Game of Thrones, and as we mentioned, he's even worked with Harry Styles from One Direction.
So Gary's other band is called Tired Pony, and it's made up of top musicians from the likes of Belle and Sebastian and R.E.M. And I said you called it your bit on the side, and you said you don't call it your bit on the side. That
Well, I've never
called
actually used those words to describe it, but it kind of is, I suppose.
Yeah.
You started it because you wanted to sort of branch out into other stuff and more country-related things. Is that right?
Initially, yeah.
But this latest album isn't really country-related at all.
No, nor was the first one, really. We never really got around to doing any country music. It was just an initial idea that I foolishly mentioned in an interview early on. And it always kind of stuck around. Well,
there's some of the names.
A lot of people asking for the country music still.
Some of the names of the tracks on the new album could be country related, aren't they? Sort of, is it Creek in the Floorboard? Creek on the
Creek in the Floorboards, yeah.
Ghost on the Mountain.
Ghost of the Mountain.
See, that's all. You could get a
country
song
there's kind of in a wider sense, it's kind of Americana. You know, these are kind of my attempts at making American records.
Do you feel then that when you're performing with Snow Patrol that there's a country artist kind of begging to get out? Is that why you wanted to do it?
I was just listening to a lot of country music at the time when I was thinking about starting another band. Wasn't even called Tired Pony at the time, and also grew up in a house full of country music. You know, Mo Bandy and Merle Haggard and Dolly Parton and Kenny Rogers and all these musicians that my mum and dad listened to that seem like they're not what you want to listen to when you're a kid, but somehow at some age, I think it was in my early 30s, I suddenly switched on to country music.
When you are forming a sort of supergroup, as you have done with Tired Pony, then you have a limited amount of time there, don't you?
Yeah, we did the first album in 9 days, the second album's in 10 days. So.
In days, 9 days.
Yeah, I mean they're not the way they used to make records in the 60s, which were literally an afternoon and they've got it done. But they're quick records in terms of the modern era.
But how does that compare to making a Snow Patrol album? How long did that take?
The last Snow Patrol record, Fallen Empires, took 6 months.
Yeah.
So it's a
6 months.
Yeah, that was the longest record we ever made.
Why did it take so long?
Well, we ended up trying to make 2 records at the same time, so that's why it took so long.
When you've got 10 days, though, you end up with a much fresher sound, don't you?
Well, there's an argument for that, for sure, but it's certainly raw. It's certainly more raw.
Shall we have a listen to, this is Tired Pony's single, All Things, All at Once. Here we go. Here's the sound.
In those days we relied
A lot, because you've managed to pop up in Game of Thrones.
Yes, I was in Game of Thrones for a mighty 10 seconds. It was a great day, though. I love the show. And
they were filming, weren't they, in your neck of the woods?
Yeah, they're filming most of it in Northern Ireland. Yeah.
So you badgered the director, did you, for a part?
Well, he came to a show. Dan Weiss came to one of our shows, and we became friends. And I was badgering him to be a member of the Night's Watch for anybody that watches Game of Thrones. I just wanted to be in the background somewhere, just to say that I was on set. And they started filming that storyline in Iceland, so he came up with this other one that was filmed in Belfast that I would get to sing on horseback.
So you're a minstrel.
My first ever minstreling on horseback. Everyone's got to do it at some point.
How did it go?
It was.
Was it easy to minstrelise on a horse?
It was funny because the song was so complicated that I kept forgetting the words, and the actors around me just kept telling me to make it up because I was going to have to redo it anyway in the studio,
Yeah.
which is what actually happened.
Yeah.
You have to re-sing it anyway, so I was very nervous about it, but it worked.
Snow Patrol have,
Yes.
have lost a man or are losing a man.
Yes, our great friend Tom Simpson, we announced in Belfast there on Thursday night at a show that he was leaving the band, and he's we gave him a great send-off. It's the right way to go, absolutely.
But you're not replacing him.
We're not replacing him, no.
You'll go on without him.
His shirt number will be retired.
Just tell us, another director you've been in touch with is Sam Raimi, Spider-Man 3.
Well, I was never in touch with him, actually. It was an email that came from him via his people to me about doing a song for Spider-Man 3. So, no, never been in touch with Sam Raimi directly.
But he emailed you, wanted you to write a song for the film.
For Spider-Man 3, yeah.
And when you went to see it, where was the song?
Well, we were sitting we'd watched the movie, went to the premiere, watched the movie. We were sitting waiting for the song to come up at the end. It was supposed to be the last track, and the credits started rolling, and the song was still nowhere to be found. About a minute later, we were the only people left in the cinema. And then a minute 30 seconds in, and the song starts. And it's the guy sweeping up the popcorn in the back behind.
So cruel. Gary, good to see you. Thank you very much.
Great to see you. Thank you.
Tired Pony's new album, The Ghost of the Mountains, out now. They're performing in London next month.
And we'll be back tomorrow from 6. Before we go, Jessica So.